All right. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. If you could just introduce yourself and share with everyone a little bit about what you do.
Hi, Robin. Thanks, you guys, for listening today. I have been a 25-year serial entrepreneur, and it started out, I was taking my oldest daughter, who's now 32 almost, on a trip, and we were sitting on this tour bus, and I started looking around thinking, oh my God, like everyone's luggage is so boring. Like this was before Lululemon, this is before like all the cute yoga bags and all these things. And I was like, how can I like make something that makes people want to like carry their bags and things like this? So from that very second, I was actually enrolled in a PhD program. I left the PhD program, of which I got a full ride. So I had to go to my advisor and literally cry, not because I was embarrassed of what I was doing, but cried because he invested so much in having me in this PhD program, and I was literally walking away from it. So I walked away from it, and without any sewing experience, except for like a quilting class in seventh grade where you hand stitched everything, I decided I was going to make handbags. And I live in California, right? So there's lots of surf brands and all these different things. So there's many ways to like get knowledge, right? And I'm a really good researcher. Otherwise, I would have never been in a PhD program. So I started just like calling different stores and, like, where do you get your surf bags sewn? And like, who makes your wallets, blah, blah, blah. And they started saying, oh, well, so-and-so in Orange County does this, and this person in Newport Beach does this, and blah, blah. And I'm like, well, do you have their names? Oh, yeah. So I started gathering these names and thinking, okay, well, what is it I want to make? I want to make something really fun. I want to make it affordable. I want to make it made here in California, or at least in the United States. And I just started kind of piecemealing things together and going to stores and like looking at how they made bags. And I went to this woman that was teaching a class one night, and she was a handbag designer. And I went and I listened to the class, and I left there and I was like, okay, well, that's another way of doing things. And I happened to get the name of a number of somebody that was a pattern maker, and she knew everyone that made bags, and she does
Wow.
samples. So she made these samples, and I sat there and I watched her in her office, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what you do. And she said, just go home, just draw up something, just a piece of paper. And I'm like, I can't draw. She's like, it doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. I can see what you want to see. So I was like, okay. So I go home and I literally start drawing on pieces of paper, different things that I want. And I take it back to her shop, and we're sitting in there for hour after hour after hour. And she's drawing it, and her actual sewer is with her, and he's looking at it and she's looking at it, and they're trying to figure out what to do. After 15 hours in one day, we came up with a very rough prototype. And it sort of started spiraling after that. Like it just got bigger and better and better. And I had a friend that had a husband at the time that was a website developer, and he made me this beautiful website. And boom, all of a sudden the like industry started seeing me, and I got an invitation to do during Fashion Week to do their design suites. And I was like, the lady calls me and she's like, is this Quincy? And I said, yeah, this is Quincy. And she's like, well, I found you online, and we want to invite you to the design suites in at the Beverly Hilton in LA. And I was like, oh, okay, but I'm pretty sure you have the wrong person. And she's like, no, I know it's you. And I go, it's impossible. Like it can't be me. Like I just started doing this business. And she's like, no, I'm absolutely positive it's you. I said, okay. So my sweet partner, SUITE partner,
Mhm.
was this incredible woman that had this line of like bamboo clothing, and was immediately we became like best friends. Like she was so cool. She was about 15 years younger than I was, but it didn't matter. Like she just was this little fireball.
Yeah.
And she introduced me to people, and I introduced her to people, and we just sort of started collaborating on things. Now they're very well known in the industry for clothing making, and they have stores all over the world and stuff like this. So she just kind of brought me under her wing, and I just kept growing and growing from there, and got into 35 states, including Puerto Rico. And then I left that business, and I went and I started a boutique, and I started teaching other women how to grow a business with somebody else that didn't know anything. But now it's like, how do you make line sheets? How do you bring your products into the store? And how do you make sure that they look right? How do they sell? What's the story behind your work? So I literally, at the time, I was using a lot of Craigslist.
Mhm.
And I put a call out for designers on Craigslist. And I said, I'm looking for women designers, any age, of any product that make things here in the United States, out of your garage, out of your bedroom, out of a huge warehouse, it doesn't matter to me, to bring you into my shop to teach and show people how to design, a store. I didn't know how to design a store either, but I had people that I had known, and all my stuff was in stores. So I knew how they set it
Wow.
up in stores. So I just took like elementary level things and just started teaching people how to build this. And it was so much fun. It literally was such a blast, and getting all these submissions from different people about different things. The youngest person I got a submission from was this 11-year-old girl who made, how everyone makes now those cute little tiny like food things, like,
Yes.
so she
Uh-huh.
was doing that. This was like in the like not early 2000s, but like 2010, 12. So she was very early in this. And she would make these earrings and necklaces, and they looked just like mini hamburgers and just like mini hot dogs and just like mini donuts. And she was phenomenal. And they
Oh,
lived in San Francisco, and her mom had seen it on Craigslist and submitted her stuff. And like we had a call, and I talked to her on the phone, and she was just this dynamic little girl. And, I mean, it just has been part of my thing. It's like, how, like you said, how do you uplift people while you're
yeah.
lifting, right? And how do you make people learn how to feel confident, to come into the store and set things up and have them tell me their story so I can share their story when the customers come in. And
Yes.
it was really, really fabulous. And then after that, I took a few years off, and I had some family things happen. My son died, and I needed a break. And so I went to Hawaii, and I lived there for a few years, and it was incredible. And I met tons of amazing people who continued to inspire me. And I came back, and I decided to have another child just because my son kept coming to me in a dream and saying, Mom, you should have another baby. Mom, you should have a
Oh,
baby. So she's now 9. And there was all kinds of, emotions around that. And I did stay home with her for about 5 years. And then I went back to work. And then as soon as I started my next business, COVID happened. So, I
wow.
took that experience of what I'd learned up to that, and literally scraping my face off the pavement, right? When someone that comes from your body, and they pass away, you're scraping your teeth through the ground trying to figure out your way, right? I
Yeah.
knew that COVID was going to take me out, but it wasn't going to destroy me. It definitely wasn't going to destroy me, because I'd been through way too many things before
Right.
that, up to that. So I decided to launch a career, still working with businesses, primarily with women business owners, on how to be financially savvy with their businesses. Because in all the years, minus the people that became my colleagues and cohort and friends and, things like this, competition, no one said, hey, do you like have a succession plan? Do you have buy sell agreements? Do you have like insurance in case you get hacked and they take everything from you? No one ever did that. So that's what I'm doing now for people. I'm encouraging them to set those kinds of things up, because like COVID completely wiped out. I had a calendar booked for 18 months that within, I want to say, 9 to 10 weeks of COVID being in effect, completely closed. Like no one was doing it, because we were doing, 3, 4, 500, even 1,000 people events with our company.
Mhm.
So to go from, oh, it's just a birthday party here, it's just a bridal shower there, that wasn't the kind of business I was doing. I was happy to do it, but it
Mhm.
wasn't the kind of business that I was in. It just happened to be that the people that I met right when I started doing that business were like, oh my God, you got to come and do this music festival. And oh my gosh, we want you to work with Children's Hospital and Wells Fargo and blah, blah, blah. So when you multiply really fast, you also hit the ground really, really fast, right? You're on that
Yeah.
high, flying above on the private jet, like, you know, this is good, this is cool. But when
Yeah.
the jet lands, man, it comes crashing down.
Hard. Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted to still be a business owner. I knew that I still wanted to run a business the way that I knew how to run them, and how I
Mhm.
know how to support people and be um, really compassionate and be really understanding about where you're coming from, and that you don't understand a lot of the things that I'm saying, but trying to break down that language so that you can
Mhm.
understand what we're saying and make it make sense to you, and not feel bad that you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in something that you might only have a couple $100 a month right now.
Yeah.
But just like any other business, just like Think Thin, just like, I mean, name any business, right?
Mhm.
Honest Company, right? Jessica Alba. That took a long time for her to get started. It didn't matter that she was Jessica Alba. It still took a very long time to get that business where it is today.
Yeah.
So you could be that next person that I'm helping, right? You could
Yeah.
be next Jessica. You could be that next I can't remember her name, the lady from Spanx. Like, look at all the things
Mhm.
she went through, you know?
Sarah Blakely, yes, love her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. So it just, you can't just be like, oh, well, they're just a small business. It's just as important as a small business as it is a big business. It's just important to wear like baby Nikes as it is to wear Nikes on the basketball court. Like, everyone starts at those tiny, tiny moments and can grow into something really big, you know?
That's so true. It's so powerful to think about too. Well, I'm so sorry to hear about your son, and that really breaks my heart. And thank you for sharing that. I know that, that's probably going to resonate with someone out there that's listening. Um, and it's such a powerful story that you continue to thrive as
Mhm.
your son would want you to. You would continue to be successful and go after the things that, you're passionate about. I love that so much. And I think that sharing that um, can really help others relate that have been through maybe a similar tragedy or something, to help them know that it's possible to continue, to thrive. So Okay, I'm just like blown away by the story, and I'm so like inspired because it's such a cool thing to think about, that you just had this one thought like, hey, these bags are really like drab, ugly. Like, why does everyone have ugly luggage? Like, and it just sparked an idea. And it's like
Yeah.
from that idea all of this was created. And then you were able to touch and help, inspire, and pour into so many others' lives. Like, I seriously got like chills 3 times. Just listening
Oh,
to the story. I have goosebumps because I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing because you believed in yourself enough to just say, hey, I want to learn. Hey, how do I do this? Well, what do I need to learn? And just going after it and doing the research, doing the work, finding the people. I think that's so key. It's like connecting with the people that are going
mhm.
to help you, and you can learn from them, but they're also learning from you in ways, right? Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh, so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
and what's so funny is that you, I mean, I think you kind of, you don't know what you don't know, but I never had anyone be rude or say you don't know what you're doing or anything, because I always just acted like I knew what I was doing. And even when I was feeling insecure, like the very first time I went to make a sale in a store, I sat in my car for like 20 minutes, was like, okay, you can do this, just go in, take the bags, and just tell her you live in the neighborhood, because I did. You've shopped at the store before, because I have. And just say, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? And just start telling your story and see what you
yeah,
want. And of course I left and she bought it, took an order or whatever. But it happened so fast after that, that then I had people coming to me saying, can we rep your line? Can we rep your line? And I'm like, my God. Then I had a showroom in LA. Then I had a showroom in San Francisco. Then I was going to the, Dallas market, and I was going to the New York market. And it just was crazy. And I mean, I don't know how to sew. I had to figure out how to buy zippers. I had to figure out how to buy buttons and figure out what to find it. What's a gusset? Well, you're going to put gussets in this bag. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Oh,
yeah,
well, it's so but they're not like you're stupid because you don't know what a gusset is. They're literally there to teach you. And then friends of friends knew the people that worked for MTV, and it was the MTV Awards, and they were like, Quincy, do you want to get involved with the MTV Awards? And I was like, who would be stupid to say no to that? Of course I do. So I became the bag that all the stuff goes in that everyone donates to the MTV Awards. And it was the year that Mean Girls came out, right? So
mm-hmm.
quite a long time ago. And so all those people are in the audience, right? I'm also in the audience because as a contributor, you get to go to the show. So I'm sitting in the
Yeah.
show, and it was a remarkable experience. But what no one knew is that about 4 days before I was supposed to deliver everything to the suite where they were filling all the bags, was my sewer didn't pay his bill to the landlord and they locked his workshop. I couldn't get my bags. He couldn't get his bags. I had to stroke a check to his landlord to get his rear end back into that office. I mean, into the sewing shop to finish sewing the stuff so I could take my order that I had promised to M freaking TV.
Yeah.
These bags. So I'm literally like standing over him going, "Are you gonna be able to finish? I have to do this. Like, it's going to destroy my reputation. Like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen." He's like, "Yeah, I'll get it done. I'm so sorry." I'm like, "All you had to do was call me and say, hey, can you pay me up front because I'm not going to
Mhm.
pay my rent this month?" And I would have said yes, instead of me going,
Yeah, and now having to stress out. Oh my gosh,
yes,
how crazy.
yes.
It's just an
So,
example of you just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You know,
no,
everyone like thinks that look from the outside looking in, everything is so beautiful and glamorous and easy. And it's like it's not always the case. Like you don't know
mm,
what's happening and you don't know all the things that it took and the hard work that it took to build up and get to that point, you know?
yeah,
And I think something that's so key that you know that keeps coming back in this conversation is the people, is connecting with people. You know what I mean? And having that network of people. I hear it all the time, the quote like your network is your net worth. Your net worth is your network. Like your network is so important. It's so valuable to have just people that are like-minded, people that want you to do well and succeed, and people that are going to mention your name in a room that, has these
yes,
opportunities for you. And
yes.
I love that so much. And it just takes putting yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was a latchkey kid when I was a kid. So from like 10 years old, I was going home by myself. And my younger brother, to this day, I don't even know where he was. Maybe they had a babysitter for him. Maybe he was, I don't know. But anyway, I went home every day by myself and I let myself in the house and I didn't want to do my homework. I wanted to like play around and play with my Barbies and like do stuff, but I wasn't allowed to answer the phone. I wasn't allowed to cook and I wasn't allowed to do this. So I was definitely very expected to be a big girl, but very forced to be not responsible as a big girl. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like, we
Yeah.
want to give you all these opportunities, but we're going to keep you in a box while we give you all this responsibility. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's how you have to break through things. You can literally, if you sit down at your desk or your couch or wherever is your workspace is, you can feel those walls around you. And if you just go, those are imaginary, those aren't walls I put on myself. These are walls I think people are putting on me. If you just push them away and go, no, you can't stop me from doing this. You can't stop me from doing that or saying this or acting like this or believing in this or researching this or building this, that you literally can break through from it. And you just keep going, and suddenly you can breathe, right? Because you don't
Yeah.
feel like that boxed in pressure and you just breathe and you just go out and you're the only one that knows if you pass or fail or do it right or whatever. But the fact that you're doing it is the win every day. If every day you did open up your computer and even just stare at other people's websites of something that you want to do, that's still a win because your mind was in the space where you want to go, right? You
Yes.
want to go to that space. If you're just going there, eventually you have to get past just looking at someone's other work online, but it does help you see that. And you can call them. Like, literally, I spend, even to this day in this business, I spend a majority of my time networking with people on LinkedIn. And I will go on their LinkedIn and I will say, "Oh my gosh, how did you get started in that business? Do you want to take a call? Can you tell me what you did, how you did it?" And it has nothing, I'm not at all interested in making that kind of business, but how did you do that? Why did you do that? And so if you're just asking people questions, then it busts out those walls again, because you're
Yeah.
like hearing someone else's crazy mindedness like mine. Like, who sits on a bus in Boston and says, "I'm going to make bags"? Me, I guess.
Yeah, the idea
Yeah.
has to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Like it can just be a random thought. And I just can so relate to you so much because that happens to me all the time. Random idea, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kind of like I'm gonna sit in it a minute and see if it's really something, or and if it keeps coming back, it's something. It's something that you're passionate about. There's a reason, there's a reason that it's still on your heart. And
Yeah.
for me, it's like this podcast has been that for me. It's like, okay, I want to connect with women. How can I do that? How can I share not only my voice and my story, but share others so
Mhm.
that other women can see what's possible, right? It's like people can find themselves in your story. They can see
Mhm.
themselves, oh, well, that happened to me too. I that's been holding me back, right? Like
Right.
they're playing this story in their head that this happened to them and now they can't do whatever it might be. And
Right.
it's like, no, just like you said, like busting down the walls, actually like look and see things in full color,
Yes.
like the
Exactly.
possibilities are endless.
Yes.
And that's
Absolutely.
just what lights me up so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. It's such a rewarding thing. And to hear other people's stories about, what the horrible things that happened to them that led them to this, because all those horrible things are just part of your armor, to go
Yeah.
forward and keep going forward and keep going forward instead of saying, oh, woe is me. Oh my God, well, this happened to me, so I can't do it. And oh, my kids are home today, so I can't do this. Like, I have a 9-year-old daughter. I'm a single mom by choice. So for me, I always have my daughter,
Yeah.
and there isn't, oh, well, someone's coming to pay the other bills or someone's going to go to the grocery store for me. It's me every day.
Yeah.
And I work full time and I do her full time too. I make sure that my schedule is so that I can pick her up from school. So you can't say I can't because I have this. All those things were choices. And now the choice is move forward or stay stuck where you are,
Yes.
you know?
Oh, so good. So good. It's like mic drop, like right there. Like that is the message. Like that is it. If you take nothing else from this conversation, that is what you take, because it is all a story that you're telling yourself. And like, how are you speaking to yourself? And what excuses are you giving yourself? Because really there aren't any, that should hold you back from living the life that you want. I mean, really and truly, it's like you're such a great example of that. You're creating the life around what's most important to you. And you're also what I think is so fascinating is you're showing your daughter, you know, how this is she's capable because you are saying, I'm capable, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna try this. She's seeing that. It's like
Mhm.
as much as we want to tell them what to do and how to do it, it's like if they see it, then it's totally different. They're seeing that, okay, mom's doing this, she's putting herself out there, she's, being brave and courageous and starting something or, trying something different or having the guts to like make something from scratch. I can do that too.
I'm glad you said that because a couple of weeks ago, I had someone from LinkedIn say, can I talk to you? I just want to hear what you do, blah, 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 blah. She was just getting out, or she's just entering her senior, like second part of her senior year for college.
Mhm.
And she said, I want to get out and do stuff. And I read your bio and I've looked you up online and I just want to know some more things about you. So I said, yes, I can take a call with you, but I actually am driving to San Diego that day. So my daughter will be in the car with me and it'll be in the car. So
Mhm.
if you're okay with that, we can do it. So we're driving and she calls and she starts saying some really sweet things, and we talk and I give her advice and, listen to this podcast and that podcast and, read this book and just do what you can to keep meeting people in your town, go and talk to the museum because she wanted to do things with art and so forth. And I said,
Mhm.
just go and talk to the museum and say, can you volunteer for the next whatever? So anyway, so the call ends and my little daughter says, Mommy, I want to be like you someday. And I said, you do? Why? And she goes, because I want people to call me and I can help them. She goes, do you think I can do that someday? And I said, you can. And she goes, well, what do you think it's going to be? And I said, it could be anything,
Yeah.
absolutely anything. And she goes, okay. And then she just kind of stared out the window while we drove. And I have no idea what she thought or what she was thinking, but it
Mhm.
was so cute because she was just like, okay.
And so it is, she's
Yeah.
like, okay, got it. Cool. Like done. Like she's not gonna
Yeah.
like stress about it, worry about it like we as adults do. She's just like, check. Okay,
Yep.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I have three kiddos, two daughters and one son. And,
Cute.
I'm starting to see too, like my daughter will say, she said it a couple times because my word is brave and she hears me say about being brave and having the courage and all of that. She's like, Mom, today I was brave enough to share this in class, whatever it was. And I'm just like, oh, like I was brave enough. Like, and I love that she was
Yep.
brave enough. That's how she phrased it. You just have to be brave enough,
Brave enough.
brave enough to just take that like 10 seconds, 20 seconds of like uncomfortableness and just go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ah,
Because the longer you stall, the harder it is. Don't stall anymore. Just don't stall.
yeah.
I have actually a really good quote from the other day. I was looking through my notes. I had a meeting just before that, and it said, the quicker to the stage, the less the stage fright. Waiting and stalling just postpones the agony. Once it's over, it's over. You know? And that last little part of over means, oh my gosh, now my world opened up just this much more or this much more.
Yes.
And maybe the person in the room that you've been dying to connect with that you didn't even know was there walks over to you and goes, oh my God, I was looking for something exactly like this or
Yeah.
exactly like you, and then you're just like, thank gosh, I came out today and went to that lunch or that coffee or that meetup group or BNI or whatever it is. There's
Yeah.
so many things to do. Join Toastmasters, join Kiwanis, join anything that you can think of to join just to meet people that are trying to meet other people, because literally that's all it is. Everyone else is trying to meet other people. We
Yeah.
all have friends, but we need friends that are more like-minded, that do other things too, right? Like most of my friends that I don't work with are stay-at-home moms, which is amazing, but they don't have the career drive that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I can't relate to them on that, and they can't relate to me. They're like, oh, doesn't Sage this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Sage gets everything she needs. I'm definitely there for her. No one's like leaving her in the dark. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to classes after school so I can work until 4, but at 4 I'm trying to be done, and if
Mm-hmm.
she's working on homework, I'm online doing LinkedIn reach outs or following up with people. So we work together. I don't want her to feel left out.
Yeah.
So her desk is right next to mine. It's quite messy right now, but it is next to mine.
I love that so much. And it's so true. It's like sometimes your closest people when you're starting out aren't the people that are going to be the most encouraging because out of love, I think they're scared for you. And because they have their own insecurities too that they're scared of, they pour, those just automatically come out. And so it's like you want to get yourself surrounded with people that are thinking outside the box and thinking
Yes.
differently and trying to be creative and not go with the norm, because that's what's going to really like push you and test you and challenge you.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my days where I just stayed in my yoga clothes all day and went to coffee and went on a hike. And I
Yeah.
love all those things too. But my drive is much bigger than that
Mm-hmm.
to keep doing things. And like you said, as an example, right? So my older daughter now has a child. So I have a little grandson. Then my little daughters, in between, I've had like 3 families so far. I have the older
Yeah.
my daughter and now the grandson, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot of people I have to like be an example for, because
Yeah.
that's like the main goal, right? You're an example for yourself, and how you treat other people as you're climbing ladders laterally or vertically is the key, like who are you bringing with you on the way up? One of the best pieces of business advice I ever got was, it doesn't matter how much I know and I teach you, it's how you use it after I've taught you. Because I could give you every trick, tool, and secret that I know, but if you never use it, I didn't lose anything. If you do use it, look what I gain and you gain, because you've taken what I've taught you among with, millions of other people, things that you've read, advice and whatever, and you built something for yourself. And I'm happy for you,
Yes.
because
Oh,
you can't give away anything that is inside of you, right? You don't give that away. You share that.
oh, yes. That's so good. And it's like the fulfillment that you feel from, giving and pouring into others and seeing, them grow is so magical.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I could seriously talk to you all day, I think. And if we were closer, I would like definitely want to catch up and have coffee,
Yeah.
but I'm in Texas, but
But we can
um
still have coffee virtually
yes.
anytime.
Yes, I would love that. I think it's just so cool to just be in connection with other women that are, just so inspiring and so courageous, to put themselves out there and to try new things. It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Um, what advice would you give someone out there that, maybe has that idea and but they're not sure like what to do next, or is this silly, or, that's just a random idea I have. It doesn't mean anything. Like, what advice would you give to help them to start, walking in that direction of that idea?
Firstly, most ideas aren't 100% unique, right? There's some variation of something else that we see that needs to be tweaked, like especially
Mhm.
as moms, right? All the different things that as moms have come out with, especially over my um, long life of being a mom. I've seen how differently things have changed. But so I think if you go in the way of researching those people, and like I said, going on LinkedIn and asking to talk to them, and you can say, I'm coming up with an idea for something, and you don't have to tell them exactly what it is. You want to try to extrapolate that information from them first,
Yeah.
right? Draw things out, write things out. Try not to share with people that you think might try to put you back in your box, right? You can
Hmm.
keep it to yourself. It's okay to keep it to yourself and only talk to, you know, peripheral people, right? Or people that you would never end up meeting, right? Or you might, like your
Hmm.
product might be almost as good as theirs and you guys end up on Shark Tank. Like they call you and say, come to LA and go on Shark Tank, or maybe they film it in New York, wherever they film it, one of these
Yeah.
coasts. Um, and just, go from there because you can take that idea and just make that spin and just make it prettier, bigger, fancier. Buy a bunch of them and take them back to Target when you're done. Like whatever the thing is, and look at it and see how it works and what you could do to make it different. Like to this day, I still look at bags and I say, oh, well, they could have done this, or oh my gosh, do they realize that your wallet's going to get stolen out of that bag or whatever,
Hmm.
or the tarnish is coming off on the buckle. I mean, I have a couple of Gucci belts and I take them back to them. I'm like, do you realize that when you rub up against things a few times that the tarnish starts to come off? Yeah, we know that. Then why do you make them like this? Because if it was my product, I would make it so that it was unscratchable.
Right.
Maybe that's something you want to do. You want to make like a
Hmm.
scratch proof spray for all of the hardware, or you want to. I thought of an idea the other day of someone needs to clean people's strollers. It's super simple, but all
Yes.
strollers and car seats need to be cleaned. So you drop them off in my garage and eventually it builds, and I have people that are cleaning your car seat. But instead of buying another $1,500 or $2,500 stroller or another $100 car seat, you're getting yours back. And we give you a loaner in the meantime.
Hmm.
We give yours back and it looks like it's brand new because we want to slow down the waste. We want to be sustainable and we want to be able
Yeah.
to help people. Hello, this is easy. Whoever wants to do it out there, do it. And then let me know because I'm going to send my grandson's stroller in his car seat to you to be cleaned.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that idea. And also, can we add high chairs? Because those
High
high
chairs
chairs,
too.
oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah. And just posing those off in the backyard doesn't work. They need like some deep
Oh
scratch
yeah.
and scrub. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all these crevices and yeah.
But I think the main thing is just to really have fun with it. And if it ends up not going anywhere, the joy and the excitement of learning and figuring out how to do something at that moment is the best because we're all going to have ideas. We're all going to have dreams that aren't necessarily going to come to fruition. They become more like a fantasy, but the next thing
Yeah.
might work out. You might wake up tomorrow morning and go, I was thinking about that all wrong. I should do it like this, and it becomes a
Yeah.
completely different iteration of that thing. So, yeah.
I love that so much. And I think that's so true. One thing could lead you to the next idea or connect you to the person that's going to, help you get to that next phase. So, and if you're having fun with it and it's a joy, it's a passion, it's fueling you, then yeah, there's really no failing at it. You're just
Right.
enjoying life.
Right, right.
Oh, I love this so much. Thank you so much. Where
No,
can
thank you,
everyone
Robin.
where can everyone connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Quincy Tessaverne. It's Tessaverne. Tessaverne, and Quincy is spelled just like Quincy Jones. And sadly, I'm not one of his amazing daughters. You can also find me on Instagram under it's Quinn with two N's underscore HNL for the call signs for Honolulu, because that's where I used to live. So it's one of my favorites. But yeah, I would love to chat with you guys. I'm also on Instagram under Tessaverne Agency for my business. So.
Awesome. Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much for coming on the
Thank you,
podcast.
guys. No, thank you for having me. I love it so much, and I can't wait to reconnect with you at the end of this.
Yes.